What's up, everybody? It is Friday, May 9th. It is going to be a good day. Jessica Benson with you from the Grind City Media Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. Bennett Doyle is going to be joining me behind the glass coming up on today's show. Every night in the NBA playoffs cannot be a heater. We were reminded that last night with the Timberwolves evening up their series with the Warriors. Draymond Green is at it again. We will get into all the action from last night, take a look ahead at what's to come this weekend. Lang Whitaker will join us to talk playoffs, to talk Grizzlies. We might even talk a little SEC football. Locally, a rivalry renewed. Memphis and Louisville, they're playing each other in basketball again. I know Bennett Doyle has lots of thoughts on that. We'll end with some music Friday, what we are listening to going into the weekend. It is a Friday. You know what we say. Da Pope. Da Pope. Da Pope.
Are you ready? Creed. By overwhelming demand, the Summer of '99 tour returns. July 27th, FedEx Forum. With special guests 3 doors down. And Mammoth WVH. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Creed returns, the Summer of '99 tour.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
I got some Cam Ward news for you, by the way.
Let me hear it.
You talk about being able to sell some jerseys. 7 minutes ago at his introductory press conference in Nashville, Warren Moon walks in. I give you permission to wear number 1.
Oh, wow.
He hands him the number 1 jersey.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm going to give you permission to wear number 1. So he's going to have the number 1 Cam Ward jersey.
That's amazing.
We're rocking the Cam Ward number 1 Titans jersey.
That's amazing.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
The other thing that came out this week that we were talking about innovation and Nike and all that, they dropped these $900 hyper boots that
900.
I mean, they're a recovery shoe apparently that you wear after sports, whatever.
Who's buying it? Because all the athletes that we see, they're going to get seeded this. So who's going to actually pay $900 for this?
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
I thought Penny was smart to handle this the way he handled it. He expressed frustration with the system, the chaotic nature of it. The price hike on eggs ain't got nothing on the price hike on basketball players. The same dude who cost you $150,000 last summer is costing you $500,000 right now. I understand his sentiment, but he stopped well short of criticizing PJ Haggerty.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
Who's going to be the tougher team that rebounds and prevents second-chance opportunities?
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
City Media presents The Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt, live from the Grind City Media Studios on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
One show ahead, weekend ahead. I'm all by myself. I think this is the first time since we started this little show many years ago that we have a situation where CJ's out and we had a little miscommunication and Bennett's gonna be here and he's gonna be here in like 5-ish minutes and we're gonna count it down. I've started the countdown clock to see how long the Jessica Benson solo podcast, solo filibuster goes in the meantime. But he is going to be here. We are going to chat about all things NBA playoffs, Memphis-Louisville rivalry, the Pope. My entire life was filled with just scrolling through Pope tweets all day, every hour, every minute of yesterday. It was a top 5 day on Twitter.com, and one of the days that reminds me why I will never get off that app, no matter how hard I try. But I did spend my evening doing what I've done every single day for the last however many days it has been, which is tuning into the NBA playoffs. And unfortunately, we were reminded that not every night in the NBA playoffs can be absolutely certifiably insane. As the Timberwolves beat the Warriors last night, 117-93 to even up the series 1-1. It is the first time in 3 nights that we did not witness a 20-point comeback in an NBA playoff game. First time in 14 days. It had been 14 days that we didn't have a game either decided by single digits or a Game 7. And I have to put the Game 7 caveat in there because the Nuggets-Clippers Game 7 was kind of a dud, and it was the only game all by itself, like me, on that Saturday that it was played. But if you remove that game, every single game since April 24th has been decided by single digits in the NBA playoffs, and most of them have been wildly entertaining, competitive, baffling, highlighted by 5 games that included 20-point comebacks, which is the most we've ever had in a single NBA postseason. So when the Warriors went down 20 in the first half last night, I did not totally give up on the game, even though my husband was muttering to himself, like almost immediately, this is over. This game is over. My Warriors-loving husband, of course. The second Julius Randle had the and one that put the Timberwolves up 13-0. My husband was like, we can turn this off at half. He said, we could watch a show. We can watch Hacks. And I was like, not so fast. You don't understand. This NBA playoffs has been sprinkled with some sort of weird secret sauce where even the games that feel predetermined have not been predetermined. And I get it that the Warriors were without Steph Curry, and it feels like an uphill battle when the Warriors offensively do not have Steph Curry. They are not a great offensive team, period. But then when you remove their best offensive player, one of the greatest shooters we have ever seen, it is just difficult to find ways for this Warriors team to score. So I'm like, you never know. And then I felt entirely rewarded because you never know what can happen in the context of a game. Anthony Edwards goes down with an ankle injury, and it looks bad. I'm watching a video of him hobbling off through the back tunnel, and everyone's like, oh, curses. We have an American Pope. Could he not bless the NBA playoffs with no injuries in this situation, especially no superstar injuries or star players in this series, as you're already going without Steph Curry? And what do you know? The second half starts, and Anthony Edwards pops back out. It reminded me of, and I can't say it as immediate of a memory with Ja Morant, because the last time we saw him, he was really hurt, and he spent some of this past season being really hurt. But like, there were times where Ja would go down, and it was like, oh my God, he's dead. Like, we're never gonna see Ja Morant this season ever again. And then he would pop back in the second half of a game. That's how Anthony Edwards operates, and we saw it from him. He definitely was hobbled, but he did fight his way to come back into that game. He's like, I'm not gonna have Chris Finch attack my level of intensity again after this one. And suddenly, the Warriors in the second half cut it from 18 to 13 to 12 to 10. It's a 7-point game, and I am locked in emoji back into it. And they have this breakaway opportunity off a Draymond Green rebound, and he outlets it to Jimmy Butler. And Jimmy Butler inexplicably just travels. Just travels. Bennett Doyle in the house. He's running. Catch your breath. What are we? A double post show? Is this a double post show where you run in up the stairs? Look at him. Take your time. Just put your backpack down. Take a sip of water. We're good. We're making our way through last night. Ultimately, though, that Jimmy Butler travel, and that sucked all the momentum out of any opportunity for the Golden State Warriors. And from that point forward, it really never felt. I think they had 3 turnovers in the next 2 minutes. They had 20 turnovers in the game. And you're just like, all right, well, I guess this won't be another opportunity for a team to come back down 20 points. Bennett Doyle.
Hey, I'm
welcome.
here. Yes, I'm here. What's up?
I'm going to let you catch your breath for a hot second. The Timberwolves obviously even up the series. They did not play a perfect game. They did not play a great game, but they played a game where they were able to beat a Warriors team that is obviously down bad without Steph Curry. Not exactly the biggest shock in the world. Jimmy Butler has to be better. He's playing on half a butt cheek at this point. He has also been playing playoff basketball essentially since February when they traded for him, and I do think that's showing its toll in this series. But the big conversation out of last night, stop me if you've heard this one before, Draymond Green had another incident. Draymond Green had another incident. Evergreen statement. Have you ever heard that happen before?
I have, yes,
No,
I have.
I'm unfamiliar with the term. No, of course, it happens regularly, and it's been a story of this postseason, as it's been a story of what seems like every postseason for the Warriors throughout the history of this dynasty. But in the second quarter last night, Draymond Green has the ball, and this is the play that causes it all. Draymond Green is going to flail his arms, and he elbows Naz Reid in the face. And to me, feels like an easy peasy technical. Like,
Yeah, I think so.
maybe, if your name is not Draymond Green, we could talk about intent. Van Gundy was like, it's a tough call. He's trying to draw a foul. And okay, like maybe if you're number 61, Pat Spencer, maybe at that point you get the benefit of the doubt. But it's not. It's Draymond Green. And Draymond Green gets the tech, which puts him at 5 techs through 9 playoff games, or has been 9 or 10, whatever the number is. He has 5 techs, so he's 2 away from having to miss a game due to suspension. And I did think to myself, going into last night's game, as the Warriors are without Steph Curry, like, oh, this feels primed for a could Draymond Green get kicked out of this game? Could Draymond Green find himself in a situation? I think historically we've seen it maybe once before. He gets the tech, and then he has the audacity to like go at the official and try to complain about the tech that he just received for something that seemed pretty clearly a technical foul. And once again, we are immersed in the Draymond Green of it all, which, listen, I know I am pretty close to alone in this city as being a small Draymond Green defender. It is a product of the household that I live in.
No, I love Draymond too.
Okay.
I'm a Draymond fan, yes.
I am too. And I can sit here and say, like, I think Draymond Green is one of the best defenders we've ever seen.
Yes.
I think Draymond Green is one of the smartest basketball players that we've ever seen.
Yep.
He is also so dumb.
If the Grizzlies traded for Draymond tomorrow, everyone in this fan base would love him. It's just true.
Oh, yeah.
It's just true.
Well, I mean, he's the
We can say we
of
wouldn't.
a player.
Yes.
Like, you'll love to have him on your team. You
That's right.
hate and everybody hates him off of it. And I will say, even Warriors fans have grown at times tired. But I woke up this morning thinking maybe Chris would be like, oh, yeah, he's fighting for Draymond Green's life this morning. I'm like, oh, my God. Oh, my God.
No, it's funny. Like, everybody here hated Matt Barnes until he came here and they didn't, right?
Right.
Like, it's just, he's one of those players. Like, you'd love to have him on your team. I'm glad. Thank you for letting me catch my breath. I just want to give you an apology for screwing up this morning and being late. That's on me. So I did. Please, if you saw me like out on the streets, I apologize.
Actually,
if I cut anyone off like coming in, if that was you, I apologize. So yeah, he should have. Frankly, he does get the leash, because if that's any other player in that situation, he's probably getting tossed. I mean, was it Goebel? Who was he cussing out? I don't know.
I can't remember who it was, but I thought, was it Goebel?
Either way, like. Come on, dude. Like, you clearly get a longer leash than anyone else in the league. It's not even close. Like, any other play. If that's a Memphis Grizzly, they're getting tossed. They're getting tossed. They just are.
I think most other players, which is a crazy, like, it's such an interesting dichotomy with Draymond Green, because everybody can see it. And listen, this has been kind of a weird playoffs where there have been multiple instances where Draymond has gotten teed up. And I've thought to myself, I'm not sure the intent was there on that one, but he does have the reputation of flailing his arms and either hitting you in the head or the nuts or the leg or wherever it may be.
Yep.
And so it puts you in a position where even if one time doesn't have intent, when there's 3 times where you're questioning the intent, you're just going to assume the worst. But he has maintained this relationship with officials where he can go at them, and there feels like there is a wall of understanding between the two. Like, we're going to tee you up, but you have to egregiously cross the line. And I thought he was pretty close last night. Like, I really thought he was going to get thrown out of the game.
Yep.
And he doesn't. Now, my husband has texted me. He wants me to be crystal clear. He was fighting for his comments after the game. Did you hear Draymond Green's comments?
Yeah, I did.
We have the video.
Let's watch the video.
Let's roll the video. This was Draymond Green when addressing the situation from last night.
You look like the angry black man. I'm not an angry black man. I'm a very successful, educated black man with a great family. And I'm great at basketball. I'm great at what I do. The agenda to try to keep making me look like an angry black man is crazy. I'm sick of it. It's ridiculous.
So, from Chris Luther. I'm fighting for his comments. His behavior on the court is tired. Warriors fans have been sick of it. He can't control his emotions, but he has a reputation, and the refs give him the softest text and flagrants while also getting a long leash. It's a very weird combination. I think we can agree on that. It is a weird combination. And his response to it, I know a lot of people are going to punk him this morning and be like, yo, dude, like, look in the mirror, have some self-actualization of how you've put yourself in this position. I also get it from a standpoint of he clearly can't control it. Like, this is who he is.
Yeah, he's been in the league a long time. You're not reeling this in.
At this point, I think we are past the world where Draymond Green exists playing basketball and can't or could change the way that he flails his arms or change the way in how he tries. Because that's what it's all about. He's trying to get a foul call. Like, I get it. People do that across the league. But you're Draymond Green, and you have so many. Your sheet is so long. You have a CVS receipt of incidences, and it's just not going to play well with the general public.
Yeah, no, it's so true. As far as like his comments about being painted as an angry black man, I don't know how much people really. I've never looked at it like that. Like, I don't think that people do that. I think people call out like the actions on the court, like we just talked about, the actions on the court where he's got this long leash that nobody else in the league has, and I think it frustrates fans. I think that's what fans get mad about, especially like opposing fans.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think they get mad at that. I think they get mad at Steve Kerr, which, what do you expect? That's the other piece of this. Like, people get frustrated that Steve Kerr is always first to bat for him and saying, like, this is what, if you want competitive Draymond, if you want all the good of Draymond Green, you get this at the same time. He's his coach. Like, I applaud the relationship that the two of them. He punched one of his teammates in the face.
That's very true. Yes, that's very true.
The man has to have pretty solid relations on the backside, outside of Jordan Poole. But for that to still work. Like, if he wasn't a likable person within his own locker room, I don't think he's having the chance to still be as impactful as he is. And like, I understand his frustrations of the narrative because like none of us want to be painted as something that we feel we're not. But sometimes we also get painted as something that, like, I don't know. It was one of those things where it's like, oh, now we're going to be stuck. This is going to be the biggest talking point of the day. Instead of the series getting tied at 1-1, instead of like, can the Warriors do it without Steph? And maybe Draymond Green did it on purpose. So this is what we're talking about, as opposed to actually wondering, can the Warriors win one of these next few games and force a game 6 where that would be the earliest opportunity that Steph could come back. And even at that point, it just feels unfortunate. I miss watching Steph Curry with the Warriors. I wanted to see this series at its fullest, not at this.
Yeah, me too. I mean, again, me and GP said yesterday, if you can find a way to get one of these next 4, if you're the Warriors, I think you feel pretty good, and hopefully he'll be able to come back. It feels like if you lose the 3 that he's for sure going to miss, which you've already lost 1, that it's probably one of those situations that's like, well, we're just going to shut him down. Why would you bring him back when you're down 3-1? I don't think they would bring him back if they're down 3-1, frankly.
They're not going to do it if they're down 3-1.
Because he's not going to come back and be up 100% Steph Curry. We could admit to that, right? He's going to be hobbled regardless. This is a long time. This is like a month-long injury, right?
We don't know because he's never dealt with one of these before. I mean, yes, he's 37 years old, and so the assumption is even though it's his first, it would probably be a more difficult return to court anyway, based on his age. Based on my bigger concern than his age is the usage. Like, that's the same thing. Watching Jimmy Butler play, he looks tired. And people are like, what happened to playoff Jimmy? Playoff Jimmy's still there. We've seen spurts of playoff Jimmy since February. Mm-hmm. That's a long time to ask somebody to be in playoff mode, especially at his age. And I am very convinced that Steph Curry's injury was a result of how much was needed of him over the course of the last 2.5 months. And also, they have played 10 games. Like, it's gone 10 days where they have played every other day. It's the same thing that the Grizzlies had coming out of the end of the season, but just when you started the play-in and then going through the first round against the Thunder, you're playing every single day. And I think that probably contributed to Steph Curry straining his hamstring in that last game. And so I don't know what it will ultimately look like if or when he comes back. I don't think the Timberwolves are this immovable force.
World beaters, I agree.
And even with this version of the Warriors, I mean, Steve Kerr's looking for anything. He went 14 deep in the first quarter. Like, he's trying. He's playing Jonathan Kuminga.
Yeah, I saw someone make a good point about that, it felt like in that game last night, he is trying to find the guys that can play in this series. So he knows in this next game, okay, I'm not going to have Steph. Who can I roll with? How deep can I roll with this bench? I need to find which guys I'm going to use and which guys I'm definitely not going to use in this next game.
You're bringing back Kuminga. You're bringing back Trace Jackson Davis. Kuminga had a nice dunk on Gobert. Like, there were moments where you're like, oh, that's the athletic, like, interesting player that Kuminga was supposed to be. But the consistency isn't there. And it really does feel, if the Warriors are going to win another one of these games, it has to be the strategy of hold the Timberwolves below 90 points. Like they did in game 1. And I'm not saying it won't happen. They probably need Draymond Green on the court, and he can only get 2 more technicals before he gets suspended for a game.
That's
so we will continue
storyline
to look at the tech counter for Draymond Green, along with his flagrants as well. We'll take a quick break. Lang Whitaker is going to join us on the other side. We'll get his take on last night's game, on all the NBA playoff action thus far. Plus, we'll talk some Grizzlies with Lang when we come back.
We're going to do our pick 6 favorite Outkast songs in honor of Outkast being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Elevators is the most creative.
Me and you.
Yes. Your mama and your cousin too.
Every time I hear somebody say me and you, I
just go to the next one, right?
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
It's time
Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
I got some Cam Ward news for you, by the way.
Let me hear it.
You talk about being able to sell some jerseys. 7 minutes ago at his introductory press conference in Nashville, Warren Moon walks in. I give you permission to wear number 1.
Oh, wow.
He hands him the number 1 jersey.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm going to give you permission to wear number 1. So he's going to have the number 1 Cam Ward jersey.
That's amazing.
We're rocking the Cam Ward number 1 Titans jersey.
That's amazing.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
This week, we're going to run down the hits and the misses from WrestleMania 41.
The main event, NXT title on the line, Obafemi versus Trick Williams versus Javon Evans. One of the greatest triple threat matches I've ever seen in my life.
I'm shocked.
And it made history because it's the first time there's 3 black men highlighting the NXT pay-per-view.
Okay.
That was dope too.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
How about Mr. Irrelevant coming from the Memphis Tigers? Yeah, how about that? New England Patriots
Second
took
time.
Memphis defensive back Kobe Minor with the 257th overall pick.
If you're the player getting drafted at that spot, it's almost better to go undrafted and pick a place as an undrafted free agent to sign with where you have a better chance.
But
of
you get a
sticking.
lot of stuff. You get a parade. I think
do?
you go to Disneyland, I believe.
Mr. Irrelevant goes to Disney?
I think so.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
We talked a little bit about Jalen Wells. Jalen Wells, man, he finished 3rd in the balloting for NBA Rookie of the Year. He's going to be back. He's going to play in Summer League, and maybe he'll shoot some left-handed jumpers out there. Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizby, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome back on this Friday. It is time to catch up with Lang Whitaker. He joins us each and every Friday. He joins us now. Lang, where can we find you this morning?
Well, guys, I took my winnings from my bet on Pope Leo the 14th. Had 100-to-1 odds, cashed in big time when I came down to the Grind City Media Resort and Casino for the weekend. Luckily, I made that pivot late for the American Pope because it paid off big time.
Nobody expected the American Pope. And
no, I had my money on Cardinal Tagle from the Philippines. That seemed to be the big bet. Pietro,
he was favored.
Parolin made a late push yesterday and kind of pushed Tagle down in the odds, but then out of nowhere came Pope Leo.
In case you were living under a rock, Pope was selected yesterday. Robert Prevost from Chicago, good old Bobby P from the West Side, as God intended to be the Pope of the world. He will go by Leo the 14th. He has dual U.S. Peruvian citizenship, but it was hysterical to watch us go full red, white, and blue all over the selection yesterday. Like, I don't think many people anticipated we would have to think, how would America react if there was ever an American Pope selected? We found out yesterday, and it was pretty fire.
Well, also, did you see like the shots of the people in St. Peter's Square, like celebrating the announcement? And they all had American flags, and I was wondering, like, where did those come from?
Yes,
like,
but then some of the quotes were hysterical from like the further reporting of the people who were there. Like I read one this morning where the common theme was, oh, he's American? Well, maybe he's a good guy. I was like, damn, they're coming for us.
Yeah. You got to question, anybody who's a White Sox fan, you got to have serious questions about.
Oh, I love us so much. I love local news because it was earlier reported that he was a Cubs fan. And then one of the local stations in Chicago did an interview with his brother, and his brother confirmed that he's actually a White Sox fan. And so immediately the Chicago White Sox are like, well, would you look at that? Congratulations to Chicago's own. And it does make sense because I feel like the Pope has to help the poor and downtrodden. And if there is a team in Major League Baseball that is perpetually downtrodden, it is the Chicago White Sox. He's also a Villanova grad. He got his Bachelor of Science in Mathematics from Villanova. So suddenly, all of these 20-point comebacks for the Knicks that feature 3 Villanova players on the roster make a ton more sense. The fact that we have a Pope who has cared at one point, and I would say like definitively no, he had retweeted after the Chris Jenkins shot back in, 2016, that Final Four. So we have a Pope who has watched college basketball. Those were some of my favorite tweets yesterday. Like, we have a Pope that cares about hot dogs. We have a Pope that cares about deep dish pizza. We have a Pope that's probably been to a Walmart at some point in time. We have a Pope who has drank Malort. Like, did you ever think a Pope would have drank Malort? I didn't.
No, I mean, and look, like you said, he's here to help all people, and maybe the White Sox can use some of that help, or the Cubs, or the Bulls, any of the Bears. There's a lot of Chicago teams that have had a tough run of it of late. But I don't really feel bad for them because they were so good for so long. It's sort of like Draymond Green. Like, I don't really feel bad for him right now because he's had a good run. And, but maybe also like this Dante DiVincenzo, another Villanova guy, maybe that's the Timberwolves getting a little bump last night thanks to Pope Leo.
I thought certainly Dante DiVincenzo was going to go off for like 30 points last night. Like, obviously the odds were already stacked against the Warriors, and then you see how the game plays out. But before we went into it, I was like, oh, sorry, Chris. Your Warriors, they can't win on a night where they have somebody who knew a guy who knew a guy who knew a guy who knows the Pope. Like, that's the funniest, like 6 degrees of separation of the Pope.
Maybe that's why Steve Kerr tried that 12-man rotation, because, trying to appeal to the Pope's biblical connection there with the 12.
That was smart. Well, the Pope is 69 years old, so they have their franchise Pope for a minute. He should be lasting for quite some time. You mentioned Draymond Green, and obviously being married to a Warriors fan impacts how I view these situations to a degree. But it's also just how I feel. Like, I think of all the people who sit up here, I probably get into the complexities of people the most. That's just how I operate. It's how I skew, is trying to find the best in people, trying to understand how people work and why they do the things they do. And so when I see Draymond Green, I can get frustrated and annoyed and like, why are you the way you are? But then I also look at someone, and clearly this is who he is. And so those two things work in hand. And Chris was pointing out during the break, just the idea that Draymond Green isn't necessarily a bad person, but he does not deserve the benefit of the doubt. And both of those things can be true. You disagree?
Well, I don't know, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you Draymond Green's a good person or a bad person. I don't know. All I can judge him on is that, he punched a teammate in the face. He's punched, swung at multiple other people. Anytime anything goes against him, you see him complaining at a level nobody else, A, complains at, and B, is allowed to complain at. There's different rules for Draymond. So I don't know if he's a good person or a bad person. That's not my job. That's not the job of sport people to judge. But Draymond sure has made a pretty compelling case that maybe like he doesn't deserve the benefit of the doubt at this point. Because like we've given him the benefit of the doubt a decade ago, and it's just gone on and on and on. And then you mentioned Steve Kerr in the last segment too, and how fans can get frustrated with him. Just in that last series when he was complaining about the fans chanting the F word at Draymond and saying, this guy has kids. Well, Draymond did the double bird salute at FedEx Forum, running around the court before he walked off the court. Like, so I don't really have a lot of leash for that kind of behavior or activity. Yeah. And I feel like if the rules are the same for one person as everyone else, great. But the rules are different for Draymond, and he still has a problem with it. And that's what makes it frustrating for everybody else, I think.
That's where I get into the weeds of why does he have rules that are different than everybody else? Like, it has to be relationship based, doesn't it?
No, it's skill based because he's good. That's why the rules are different, because he's really good. He's a great basketball player. He's a great defensive player. And he's the anchor of that team that has won all these titles the last few years. Like, he has been so good and been such an important part of that team. Right. And I think that's why the rules are different. You see the best players in the league get refereed differently. For Draymond, it's not so much physically differently; it's emotionally differently. But he does get refereed differently than everybody else, and because he's good, that's why he gets refereed differently. It kind of is frustrating to everyone else that he can't just kind of rein in those emotions. Maybe that's what makes him so good. I don't know, but those emotions, like that he feels like he's being discriminated against because of nothing other than the way he plays. And I feel like everyone else is like, dude, they're calling all this stuff on you because you're punching people and hitting people and knocking people down. Like, come on, man.
It was already going to be a interesting series. I didn't feel strongly one way or the other on Warriors Timberwolves, but without Steph Curry, this Warriors team is significantly worse. Like that is just a fact. Do you foresee any road forward where they win this series, even if Steph is able to perhaps come back in a Game 6 situation?
No, I don't think so. I mean, even if he comes back, is he coming back able to sprint around the court for 40 minutes? Because
so much of their offense is based on motion. He's moving everywhere all at once.
And he's a decoy half the time. Like, he's running around off ball, and you have to watch him. You have to double off ball, all these different things. And if he's not able to play at that pace, at that speed, and with that, ability to just kind of be tireless out there, then I don't know if they have a shot. I kind of felt like this was going to be the Timberwolves series anyway going into this. They've been so hot the last 2-3 months, and the Warriors, had to play in their way into the thing, and the Warriors look old. They have, and Steve Kerr hasn't really known what to do in terms of, like, do we play Kuminga? Is Moody the guy? Like,
Moody's been so bad. They've gotten great play from Buddy Hield. Like that's been one of their biggest pluses. But all these young guys who I think there was some kind of an expectation that they would rise throughout the season and get to the point where if you added a Jimmy Butler, and obviously this is under the assumption that Steph is healthy too, but that they could all work together. But it's been arduous for them to score, period. Like, even with Steph's heroics and Buddy Hield making the most threes of his postseason, it's still been really hard. They've won on the defensive end. That's been the biggest thing for them.
Yeah, and they kind of get a pass on it, but they've had these multiple lottery picks, and they took James Wiseman, who didn't work out. They took Kuminga, who can't play. And then McGay got Moody. They've had all these guys. They've had a lot of shots at trying to keep this thing together and extend it, and it just hasn't worked out. And I feel like father time comes for everybody at some point, and it feels like it's coming for the Warriors right now.
We do have some breaking news this morning, taking a quick pivot from the playoffs, and we'll get back to the NBA playoffs, but this feels very important because Pablo Torre is reporting this morning that Bill Belichick's girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, has been banned from the North Carolina football facility. According to him, one Belichick family source said there is deep worry for how detrimental Jordan can be, not just for North Carolina, but Bill's legacy and reputation, everything he has built and worked for over decades. I was waiting for this. I was waiting for it to turn into oh no, here is this man who has avoided the drama for his career and has been, take away Deflategate, take away various things, the relations with Tom Brady, even how things ended at the end with Robert Kraft. He has been able to kind of sit himself on this pedestal of one of the greatest coaches of all time. And now this is she 24, 25? Whatever. A young woman has come in and in the course of the last few months turned him into a tabloid story. Like, Bill Belichick has been a tabloid story this month. And I was waiting for somebody to step in and say, whoa, 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 we have a reputation to preserve here.
Here's the thing. There's fans of 31 other NFL teams who love to see it.
Oh, yeah.
There's fans of lots of other college teams who love to see this too. And, Belichick for so long has, like you said, kind of been on this pedestal, and I don't need the media. I don't need any of this stuff. I think it was Damian Woody on ESPN who talked about how, Belichick told them, you don't need the media, just play the game, don't worry about all the other stuff. And now he's doing these media tours and all this other stuff. And the former players are like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of question about that. I think North Carolina should have known, though, when a woman named Jordan showed up, and it's not spelled like Michael. at UNC, like, that's going to be something down the road, and it's turned into an issue already.
Yeah, and all along, because I've heard some people say, well, why are we, this is some man's personal life. Why is this a story? It's a story because he's still an active coach. Like if Bill Belichick was fully retired.
Yeah, but it's a story because they made it a story. Like she's posted about them numerous times on social media. She didn't have to be there for that CBS interview. She was there.
Yes.
Belichick's let her, I'm assuming he's complicit in all this too. She's not posting all this stuff without him knowing, I would guess. So that's why it's a story, is because they've allowed it to be a story. There's a way in an alternate universe that he could have had this whole life with nobody else knowing that he has a girlfriend that's younger. But we all know, and now it's a thing.
And there's been a desire to stay relevant. But again, the primary piece of that is he is the head coach of the North Carolina football program, and he has a season to coach this fall. And so, yes, it is a sports story. And now the fact that Jordan Hudson is reportedly not allowed at the facility is a continuation of that story. And so it's just going to continue onward. Will Bill Belichick be the head coach for North Carolina more than one season, if you had to say right now?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I know his son's the coach in waiting, so who knows? But, I also think he's the highest paid employee in public employee at a university school in North Carolina. Like, there's some sort of duty to the people who got you here, I think, to make this responsible. The crazy part is he hasn't even coached a game. Like this has been going on now for 6 months, 8 months. We've had this discussion about Bill Belichick in North Carolina, and a game hasn't even happened yet. So that's one way to kind of brush all this under the rug, is just to win some games once that starts. I'm sure at this point, like Belichick cannot wait for the season to start. Who knows, like what kind of roster they've bought, but I would imagine they're ready to get this thing started.
I know, but then it turns into what if they lose that first game against TCU, and then what if they were to let one fall against Charlotte or Richmond or UCF before they get to ACC play? If Bill Belichick goes into Cal on October 17th and loses, like that conversation could turn to a place that he hates even more than what's going on right now. All right, back to the NBA playoffs though, because we do get a ton of games this weekend, and I think the most interesting series of the conference semifinals has been Knicks Celtics, because the Knicks have come back down 20 in both of those games and take a 2-0 lead over the Celtics. They go back to Madison Square Garden. Tickets to get in the building are like $700. People are wondering if it is the biggest game to be played at MSG since ... fill in the blank. Do you see a path forward where the Celtics really do get eliminated by the Knicks? Or are you still confident that this Boston team can find a way to be the one that won 60-plus games?
I saw a stat on Twitter yesterday from Sean Grandy, who's the Celtics radio play-by-play guy, and he said those two shooting games for the Celtics were the worst two games they've had back-to-back, I think, ever, but specifically under Brad Stevens. And so there's a certain level of sort of luck that happened in this that has given the Knicks a chance to get to this point. But to give the Knicks credit, both of these games, they got way behind and just stayed in it, fought, and then had these amazing fourth quarters. I think there's a way the Celtics still win this series. They've been up 20-plus points in every game. Right. They've been up 20-plus points in the second half of every game. Like they've shown an ability to dominate this Knicks team. But this Knicks team is sort of like Mike Myers. Like you can't put them away. They keep coming back. Michael Myers, I'm sorry. They keep coming back, and they're unable to just kind of get them out of the picture if you're the Celtics. So I wouldn't be shocked if the Celtics won this series. At some point, I think the Knicks, they can't keep digging themselves these huge holes and expect that they're going to be able to win these games. But it's hard to count them out the way this thing keeps going. And now they got the Pope on their side.
It's the Villanova Holy Spirit. How pissed off do you think Boston fans are that they don't get the Pope? Like, wasn't one of the American candidates a Boston guy? I don't know. But if I were to pick a city that an American Pope came from, it would have either been Boston or Chicago. Like, that's a war that would have existed here in this country. And ultimately, it goes the way of Chicago. As for the other Western Conference series, the Thunder come back and absolutely curb stomped the Nuggets in Game 2. Looked very reminiscent of the Thunder team that the Grizzlies saw in especially those first 3 games of that series, and the third of those being after John Morant got injured, because don't remember, they were figured out and there was a path forward for this Memphis Grizzlies team. Your confidence level in the Thunder, and has that wavered based on the first 2 games, or where did you stand going into the series to begin with?
I thought it was a weird matchup for the Thunder because Hartenstein on offense, you can play off him and just sit in the paint. And that gives Jokic a bye on the defensive end, basically. You put Jokic on Hartenstein, let him sit in the paint, and then you can put Aaron Gordon on Chet Holmgren and let him be athletic and chase around and do all that stuff. And then in game 1, the Thunder just kind of coasted. Like, it felt like the whole game, they never really played with that same kind of energy and fire they had against us in the first round. And they let the Nuggets back into it. And then in game 2, we saw the Thunder that we saw from the regular season and that ability to, if they play like that the rest of the series, the Nuggets are going to lose every game that's left. I think for the Thunder, it's just trying to get them to play at that level. And look, we saw them sustain it throughout the regular season. I don't know if this is, a case of last year where they get to the second round and struggle again, or if this is a case of, hey, we hadn't played in a week. We were just having a day off. Yeah. We need to come back. We're going to be fine. I kind of trust that they've got the depth and the ability to, even if SGA, even if Holmgren's having an off night, somebody on that team's going to get hot because they've got enough dudes who can
Isaiah
shoot
Joe is coming off the bench and giving you 14. Like Kaysen
Aaron
Wallace,
Wiggins.
the other Jalen Williams, Wiggins, Mitchell. Yeah, to me, this series has very much turned into a most complete team versus best player in the world. Like Jokic could absolutely have another game where he strong arms the Nuggets into a win, but it does continue to put a spotlight on why I've believed in the Thunder, despite the inexperience, despite the thought of, is that defense really going to stay as fortified once you get to the postseason? It's the depth. Like we are living in a world, and I think this Thunder team can prove the importance of depth in this iteration of the NBA.
I think that speaks to the current CBA and the NBA and the way that teams are set up, and like it's really hard to have like a big three and then to have anyone else around them. Unless you kind of really hit on young players and find like 1 or 2 bargain guys out there. The only way you can do it is you got to either be perfect with your roster setup, or you got to just have a lot of young guys and get yourself in the position the Thunder are in right now. It's really like with Denver, if Aaron Gordon's having an off night, if Jamal Murray's having an off night, Michael Porter Jr. has been really bad in this series. Like he's not giving you anything. And then when you turn to the bench, Peyton Watson, like who's going to come in and make a difference for that team? They were playing DeAndre Jordan the other night, and I was like, oh man, like, that's who they're just desperate. So it's really hard to do that. I think the playoffs maybe gives you a little bit more of an opportunity because you don't have to play back-to-backs. You can maybe rely a little more on your starters. But then now you're seeing with the Warriors, them kind of wear down too. So it's a tough spot, I think, to be in if you're a team. I don't know if the Knicks are sort of in that same category, right? They only play 7-8 guys per game. Their starters play heavy minutes. At some point, you would wonder if that's going to wear down a little bit, but maybe not because the Knicks have been doing that all season.
Since the last time we spoke to you, it was a week ago that Thomas Isolo was officially named the new head coach of the Memphis Grizzlies. If they had waited and done it on Thursday, that would have been the ultimate of all the news dumps that could happen, was to do it on Pope Day. I saw some team did do something. What team was it? It wasn't the White Sox, was it?
I don't know.
No. Yesterday?
Someone had some news
the
dump. Pirates, that's who it was.
Yeah.
It was the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Sure, that's
it would have been wild if it was the White Sox, and they're like, just kidding, he's a fan. He's a fan. But no, when it came out last Friday, we haven't heard from Thomas Isolo since. Do you think we'll get a press conference? Like, it can't be an introductory press conference, but I guess it would technically be that as new head coach.
Maybe something around Summer League.
That's what I would expect. Or after the draft.
Yeah.
We do have 2 second-round draft picks, or whatever ends up happening. If a trade were to happen around the draft, then perhaps the newness all comes in together. I actually think that's what they did with Taylor Jenkins. Like, Taylor Jenkins' introductory press conference was John Morant's introductory press conference. Am I remembering that correctly?
I remember. Yeah, that was right. I was there. I remember, and a lot of the players on the team showed up because they had met Taylor. And then I think Taylor coached Summer League that first year.
Yes.
I think he was like the head coach at Summer League that first year.
Yep.
I don't know if Isolo would do that just because he's already had some experience in the NBA coaching. But, there was a big announcement. I kind of felt like it was the right move after hearing all those guys talk about him on the exit interviews. You know, like every player who spoke talked about what a good fit it was, how they liked working with him, what kind of a competitor he was. I think he checks a lot of boxes for this team. I know a lot of people have pushed for like, hey, we got to get some like veteran coach. We need some guy who's coached in the NBA before. And my thought is, well, you can hire assistants who've done that too.
Yeah.
You can fill the bench with guys who've played forever. I've seen other guys that say, oh, this guy needs a shot. This guy needs a chance. I don't know. I feel like you got a guy who's won regularly at a high level in Europe, sure, but he's won regularly and at a high level and won titles over there and has some familiarity with these players and this city. And let's give him a shot.
If he did have a press conference and you got one question to ask him, what would it be? It's
unfair because whenever I ask him stuff, he talks about Slam magazine and my influence on him. So I don't want to. I wouldn't ask him that.
We're going to get the Lang, the Slam plane is going to fly you to Finland to do a profile piece on Tuomas this offseason.
Maybe the Grind City Media plane will fly me over there. The other thing, I think the real good question for him would be, when the Grizzlies let go of Taylor Jenkins, they also let go of Noah LaRoche and Patrick St. Andrews, assistant coaches. And Patrick St. Andrews was sort of the defensive coordinator for this team. And we know Isalo is kind of known for his offensive pick and roll and finding ways to be creative within that sort of structure over in Europe. But like, who's going to run the defense? Like, maybe that's him. Maybe they're going to bring in somebody. You look at a team like the Clippers who went out and got Jeff Van Gundy to just be the defensive guy. I wonder if that's an option here, is like going to find someone who's just the defensive coordinator. This is your thing. We'll run everything else. Or do you look at it like, it's a full program. We're going to it's all holistic and we'll figure out a way that they work together and balance them.
Yeah, I think the assistant coaching staff is one of the most interesting questions to be answered this offseason. I did read your Grind City Media newsletter this morning, Lang, and I learned something in it. I learned that Netflix is changing its interface. And if you don't subscribe to the Grind City Media newsletter, now's your chance because Lang will hit you with random fun facts like this. But why is Netflix redesigning its homepage?
I don't know. It's been 12 years since they redesigned anything. And there was a story in the New York Times about this the other day. That's where I saw it, that they, after 12 years of redesigning the front page of Netflix, they're going to make it supposedly easier to find content. And instead of kind of being the side menu, it'll be at the top. And then there'll be ways to go down and go more into things. I don't know. We'll see if it makes a difference. I wrote in the thing, I kind of feel like I'll still go there for 3 minutes, scroll around, and then flip back over and watch regular TV.
It's to reach the youths. It's to reach the youths.
How does one reach the youths?
I saw that they're making it so it looks more like TikTok.
Oh God.
Yeah, that was.
We're too old for this.
I don't sit on Netflix. Like, I am usually going to Netflix specifically to watch something. I'm not a scroller on Netflix. And I was trying to find the Oklahoma City bombing documentary that CJ and I talked about yesterday. And I ended up having to search it. Like, I couldn't find it. It was new. It was notable. And I used to be able to easily get to it was top shows, top movies, top documentaries. And the top documentaries category was gone. And so I couldn't go to where, and I felt so old. I was very shake fist at clock. Okay, wait. This is an interesting question that I had this week that I feel like you, a parent, both of you as parents, can perhaps answer. So I'm part of the Grizzlies mentor program, join team mentor. It's great. But I work with 7th grade girls once a week, and we're working on this final project where we've been using iPads, and we have a software that has allowed us to design comic book strips. And it's really just like a version of Paint, but it's on the iPad, and it has caused me and my fellow mentors so much pain and strife trying to figure out this program. And the kids will just take the little pen and they're like, boop, 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 and they fix it. And we feel so dumb. And so I texted Chris, my husband, and I said, hey, I know this is going to sound crazy, but in the next couple of years, I think we should maybe buy an iPad to practice on, because the kids only use iPads. Is that a crazy idea from me? Or do you feel like kids are on tablets so much that we need to be doing this as preparation as parents?
I mean,
I don't want to. Bennett, you go ahead.
No, I mean, it actually makes we have an iPad and my child is obsessed with it.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
I I would say this: my son's older than Bennett's, and my son's in middle school, and they have not laptops. They have like a whatever you call them, notebook computers.
Okay.
So they're on those more than anything. But my son has a phone, an iPhone, and you know, my wife the other day for her job had to edit some sort of video thing, and it was in Canva, and my son was like, "Oh, here," and he took it and immediately started like doing all this stuff, moving 8 times the speed of me. I mean, he's not even a teenager yet, and he was able to do all this stuff that I can't do. I don't know how to do. So I think, Jessica, the real thing is here, we have to learn to work together with the youth.
Okay.
We can't be afraid of them. We have to be able to call on them when we need help with these things.
I want to call on them when we need help, but then on the flip side, they're telling me about the projects they work on. They're like, "Oh, I didn't really have to do much. I just put it into ChatGPT and it wrote it for me." And I was like, "Oh, we are so good.
No.
We're so doomed."
I've never used. Somebody the other day asked me if I used ChatGPT to like write the newsletters or write different things, and I was like, I've never used it once in my life.
So I
don't
used
know how
it.
to use it.
I used it this morning. I've used it intermittently. I did use it this morning. I was going to wait and have this announcement, but I have a new side hustle, and I am a writer of Knowledge Bowl questions for the Knowledge Bowl.
What?
So I was, but they
How do you
actually
get that
encouraged.
gig?
My high school English
Wait.
teacher recommended me to her high school
This is
English teacher,
terrible.
who I know it's a mess.
I want that
You're
gig.
using ChatGPT to ask questions.
No, so they encourage it, and it felt so wrong to me, but they encourage that you put every question through ChatGPT so that it's as like concisely written as
Accurate,
possible
yeah.
and written in like stylistically how a trivia question would be written. And then they actually encourage you to put the like subject matter in, like the specific subject. So let's, for example, like I had a question on the Andes Mountain Range, and then you would put in, can you write me 5 questions about the Andes Mountain Range? And then it gives you options so that there's less repetition as this continues on. So they actually say, like in the contract, use OpenAI, ChatGPT to facilitate in writing questions, because it's also just about the sheer volume of questions that you're putting in. But it felt so dirty. Like I'm like putting in this question this morning, or the prompt this morning, and I didn't feel good about it.
Where are the Andes? South America?
South America. From
Argentina?
Venezuela to Chile.
I'll tell you what.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
Argentina.
yeah,
It covers
gotcha.
7 countries.
Good.
I tell you what, like if I'm hiring someone to write Knowledge Bowl questions, like you should know how to use proper grammar and punctuation. The people I hire.
Yes.
I would say I would stress, let's leave the computers out of this.
Yeah.
Let's use our knowledge to write these
Well,
questions.
I think the point is to use your
I'm not blaming
knowledge.
you, Jess.
The point is, I know this has been something this just happened. I've been a worker, a contractor for a week now, but I just got everything done where I'm submitting like my first round of questions, and that's how I feel too. Like, of course, I should be using my brain exclusively to write these Knowledge Bowl questions. And I found it fascinating that these people who run it, who are older than me, but they're conscious of using it as a helper, not as I think that's where what I would love for AI to get to is where it's exclusively used, and I know this is a pipe dream, that's not gonna happen, but where it's used as a tool and not the sole worker in this situation. You're still critically thinking.
I saw a clip on social media this week of a robot that could lay tile on a floor, and it was going across a big empty workspace and like using a laser to lay out the tiles and space them correctly and do all that stuff, which for years has been a job, right? And they were like, "Oh, robots are coming to take our jobs." But then I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, someone has to program that robot, right? Someone has to like fix the robot when it breaks. Someone has to drive the robot to the work site and clean it afterwards and all that stuff. Like, I think there's still jobs around this stuff if we're as long as we're the ones still in control of the robots. And I guess that's the question with the ChatGPT thing is like, at some point, do we lose control of these things?
And do you still have the ability to
controlling
critically
us?
think and to think for yourself, where you're not just putting everything? We talked about this yesterday, so we don't have to go fully into it again, but there was an article about how everyone's cheating in college, and I think it was in the New Yorker, and just talking about kids almost exclusively using AI to do any essay, any homework assignment, whatever.
I mean, I'm not to implicate myself. Like, we used to steal full paragraphs off Wikipedia and put it in our essays. Like, this is just a new version of that. Yeah.
So it's not a matter. So, but people were saying, like, holistically, can you change how you approach education? But then somebody said that, I can't remember if it was in the article itself or somebody commenting on the article, where they were talking to a young person who didn't know how to write a happy birthday card. So they put, like, hey, can you help me write my coworker a happy birthday card. That's where we're
longer
doomed.
That's a bridge too
The
far.
words are happy birthday from
That's
sign your
longer
name.
than the prompt is longer than what you would write in the card.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I still think like when I have to write a long story for Slam magazine or something like that, like it is hard to sit down and write 2,000 words that are not copied from somewhere else, that are original, that are interesting. Like I tell people like that being a writer is friggin' hard.
Yeah.
And I could see ChatGPT being helpful in some ways. Like maybe it gives you some prompts or helps you think about things you hadn't thought about before. But at some point you got to use your brain and you got to sit down and type things in. So
Yeah. Anyway, Lang, thanks for joining us. Enjoy
Thanks,
the Grind
y'all.
City Media Hotel and Casino Resort. We'll see you next week.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate
That
it.
was Lang Whitaker. He joins us every Friday. Be sure to subscribe to the Grind City Media newsletter at grindcitymedia.com. We'll take a break. When we come back, I know Bennett Doyle's excited about this. A rivalry renewed.
Let's go.
Memphis and Louisville. I love rivalries renewed. We'll talk about it. They're playing basketball again. We'll give you the details when we come back.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GBWR.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans. Want exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season? Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
I got some Cam Ward news for you, by the way.
Let me hear it.
You talk about being able to sell some jerseys. 7 minutes ago at his introductory press conference in Nashville, Warren Moon walks in. I give you permission to wear number 1. young guy."
wow.
He hands him the number 1 jersey.
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm going to give you permission to wear number 1. So he's going to have the number 1 Cam Ward jersey.
That's amazing.
We're rocking the Cam Ward number 1 Titans jersey.
That's amazing.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
This week, we're going to run down the hits and the misses from WrestleMania 41.
The main event, NXT title on the line, Obafemi versus Trick Williams versus Javon Evans. One of the greatest triple threat matches I've ever seen in my life.
I'm shocked.
And it made history because it's the first time there's 3 black men highlighting the NXT pay-per-view.
Okay.
That was dope too.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
How about Mr. Irrelevant coming from the Memphis Tigers? Yeah, how about that? New England Patriots
Second
took
time.
Memphis defensive back Kobe Minor with the 257th overall pick.
If you're the player getting drafted at that spot, it's almost better to go undrafted and pick a place as an undrafted free agent to sign
Yes.
with where you have a better chance
But
of
you get a
sticking.
lot of stuff. You get a parade. I
They
think you
do?
go to Disneyland, I believe.
Mr. Irrelevant goes to Disney?
I think so.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
Who's going to be the tougher team that rebounds and prevents second chance opportunities?
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
We're going to
Let's
do
do
our,
it.
our pick six favorite Outkast songs in honor of Outkast being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Elevators is the most creative.
Me and you.
Yes. Your mama and your cousin too.
Every time I hear somebody say me
Sitting
and
on
you,
it.
I
You just go to the
immediately
next one, right?
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
All right, welcome back, welcome back. Before we get into Memphis, Louisville, I had a really exciting text come my way during the break that I would like to share with the crowd.
Okay.
So, as mentioned, I spent a lot of time on the internet yesterday. Just the Pope jokes were flying everywhere. Like, I really appreciated how the American community came together to be so wildly entertaining.
Agreed.
It was just good stuff all around. So I wanted to contribute, right? And thinking of famous popes, I, just put together a quick little word of fact check. This is actually the second American pope. The first was Olivia. Do you get the joke? You didn't watch Scandal. Whatever. You're not part of the TGIT family.
I'm not. I did not watch.
That's okay.
I did not watch.
Because on Threads, many people did. And I just found out Kerry Washington, Olivia Pope herself.
Oh, I knew she was on Scandal.
Reposted my thread.
How about that?
And I think that is the coolest person who has ever reposted anything that I've done. I'm so excited.
Is that the biggest? That's your biggest celebrity repost? It's got to be.
I don't know. Do you remember that tweet that I had about Kate Middleton disappearing and after Kentucky lost to Jack Golke in Oakland?
Yes.
Where it was like, 2 UK disappearing acts in March.
I
had some good ones there, but then everybody like untweeted it because then
they got sad. Yeah.
The next morning.
Yeah.
It was
you didn't know.
I was having the time. I was like, this is what it feels like to go viral. And then this is what it feels like to be a giant POS. So anyway, Kerry Washington, I loved Scandal forever and always.
Okay.
Olivia Pope is my pope. But then people did point out, like, she did have a father and a mother on the show. So technically, they would be the first American popes. The other thing that I found interesting in that, because when something goes viral, you're like, there's inevitably someone who's mad about what you said, just no matter what.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
There are some people who are upset that we're calling him the first American pope. Because Francis, the last pope, was Argentinian?
Yes, I believe so.
He's from South America. And there are some people who take exception with the American exceptionalism of
we
saying
steal America.
We are American.
Yeah.
But I would argue we are the only country in North America, South America, that refers to itself as the United States of America, and thus we are Americans.
I do not think anyone in South America refers to themselves as American.
American.
They
No,
refer
I think
to
they
themselves
actively
by
are
their
like,
country.
no.
Yeah, right.
We don't want it.
Right. Yeah, I think you're completely right there. Yes.
But there is a contingency of people. Because there were more than one, so we're calling it a contingency.
Yeah.
It just surprised me. That's when you learn new things.
You know,
anyway.
it was fun yesterday. It was fun yesterday because that is awesome. God, I wish a celebrity would retweet me. That'd be cool.
You got to get on Threads, Bennett. Threads is where it's at.
Threads where it's at. I need to get back. I'm there. I need to get back. No, it was cool because, like you said, everything on the internet's negative. Everything on social media is negative. But when you're referring to the Pope, like, how negative can you really get? I mean, it's the Pope. It's the Pope. That's blasphemous. You can't talk bad about the Pope. I know some people did, but not like we're used to seeing.
It's not like it's a total clean slate for the Catholic Church here, Bennett.
Fair enough.
Yes, yesterday it felt like much of it was, dare I say, in good faith jokes about the Pope.
That's right. That's right. It was just a
faith.
nice day on social media. It felt like, yeah.
It was a nice day for Memphis Tigers fans because we found out that Memphis and Louisville basketball are renewing their rivalry.
Let's
and I
go.
love history. I love when we respect history. And that's what this means to me. A 6-year series between Memphis and Louisville was announced. The first game will be December 13th, 2025 at the KFC Yum Center. Maybe my favorite stadium name in all of college basketball. Just go play at the Yum Center. The series will then shift to Memphis the next year. The other dates over the next 4 seasons are still TBD. But these two teams have not played since December of 2017 in the Gotham Classic at Madison Square Garden. This brings it back. And when you are Memphis playing in the American Athletic Conference, and there is not a lot of juice.
Yeah, you don't have any
in
rivals.
Your current rivalries.
No.
You got to bring
I
the
guess
oldies
UAB,
back. You
but
got to
yeah.
bring the classics. Yes, you have UAB, but now to be able to play Louisville, I so wish that more schools could come to this agreement. Cough, cough. Rick Barnes. It's not that serious. Cough, cough.
Yeah, it's what I've
John
been.
Calipari.
I got really pissed off about the Rick Barnes comments the other day, just because like it goes back to I get it. You and Penny had this rift or whatever, and so you're not going to play the series. It's fine. Like, this right here, this is what college basketball, you do it for the fans, man.
Yes.
Like that we've gotten so far away. Like what's the big college football rivalry that's not going to happen? Is it Pittsburgh, West Virginia? Was that the one that's not going to happen every year like it used to? And it's just like those two fan bases care so much about this, like that's what matters.
Yeah.
I know that like in this new college sports world where it's all about these giant leagues and there's maybe not going to be as much parity as there used to be going forward, specifically in like college basketball and the NCAA tournament.
Right.
I just think it's so important to give fans something, and this is that. Like you are giving the fans what they want. Louisville doesn't necessarily have to play Memphis, right? Like they're in the ACC. Like, whoa, is Louisville in the ACC? Yeah, I thought so. I can't keep up anymore.
That's okay. If you can.
But they don't have to play Memphis, right? They're doing it for their fans because it's a historic rivalry. It used to be one of the biggest rivalries in college basketball. And again, it goes back to the Tennessee thing. Like Rick Barnes and Tennessee don't have to play Memphis, and they can say they don't because I know maybe look down a little bit, whatever. Their fans love it. They sell that arena out whenever Memphis comes to town. They love booing the Tigers. Yes,
of
course it does.
If those two teams are playing, fans of both programs, so fans of Tennessee, they can look down on it all or pretend to turn their nose up at it all they want.
Yeah.
They feel differently watching their team play Memphis than I don't know who was their non-conference scheduled opponent the last year, but a random team from the ACC or a random team from the Big 12. Like there's just not the history, there's not the geography in that case, but that's where I love it with Louisville. I mean, I would love to see something eventually get worked out, and I know it's not as heated or as long of a rivalry, but like play Houston again. Like there's juice there. Play Cincinnati. There's juice there. Just anything that matters more than like run-of-the-mill fill in the blank.
This one's so cool because it's going to be very easy, especially for the old heads, like to get that hate going again. There is, I mean, I grew up hating Louisville. Like that
was your team to hate.
Yes, and I think a lot of Memphians are like me. Not as like I was born in '86, so I missed like a lot of the big rivalry in the 80s that really started the whole thing. But even in like the early 2000s, like the Francisco Garcia era of Louisville, like those teams hated each other. And so I've just grew up hating that team in a good way. I say hate in a good way.
No, you can hate.
Yeah.
I think there were a lot of people who hated Louisville for a long time. But I think Memphis was a legitimate rival of Louisville.
It absolutely was.
Because that's the difference.
Back to the Metro days. Yeah, of course. So this is really huge. I love that they're doing it for 6 years because it's going to give it enough time to really brew some emotions in both fan bases. And so hopefully it's one of those things where it just becomes this signature game. And once the 6 years is up, you're like, how can we not play this every year going forward? These fan bases love it. And it just makes complete sense. That's where I'm hoping it goes.
And it gives you the legitimacy of, in the day of age of trying to boost your resume as much as possible in quad opportunities. Memphis has been good. Louisville has been good. So it doesn't appear that either has to take, you're not like taking your lumps to renew a rivalry. Like you're giving yourself and you're giving your team what should be if you project moving forward. I mean, Louisville was a contender in the ACC this year, like someone who is competing in their conference who could potentially be a quad one opportunity from next year through the next 6 years. So it is also a testament because like you said, Louisville doesn't have to play this game.
No, they're going to be really good.
They're choosing to play this game. And I think that alludes to them thinking Memphis is a good enough team that it wouldn't tank their resume. It wouldn't tank their net rating if they were to lose that game.
Yeah.
Rick Barnes playing scared. That's what I say. And I know there's all the emotions behind it as well, but you don't want to lose.
That's
to
what
Memphis.
makes it fun. That's what makes it fun. Like
you take the fear out of sports. What are we doing here?
Yeah, like
so
that's
stupid.
why. That's why I just like the Rick Barnes stance on that. Just it bothers me because I'm like, dude, that's like the whole point of college sports, of sports in general, is the hatred between the fan bases. Like that's the good stuff. You shouldn't run away from that. I don't care that you play like this amazing schedule. And listen, one day he won't be the coach there, and they'll play that game again. I mark my words. That's going to happen. He won't make a final. Eventually, they're just going to get sick of not making a Final Four, right? And he'll be out of there. Somebody else will come in. They'll play that game again one day.
Is there any other team that you're like thirsting over a series with Memphis at this point?
Is there any
Or
other
was
team?
Louisville like? Did that satisfy?
That's the best one.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of UT, like
Yeah.
that's the best one because we do.
That's awesome.
We had Chris Beard on earlier this week, and he talked about the kind of the importance of the Ole Miss Memphis series. I really respected his answer because again, it's to what I just said. He talked about how it matters to the fan bases, how they have a lot of alumni here, and so it's important for them to be. He didn't even mention because Gary kind of asked him, recruiting the area or whatever, and he didn't even really mention that much. He was really just talking about how it's important to their fan base to play the game, and so I respect that. As far as like a team that I would love to play that we used to play a lot, I guess you could say Cincinnati. I don't know how much the juice is really there anymore with that, but that'd probably be the one.
And at this point, I think there's obviously the hope is that Memphis is not in the American forever, but for now it's one of the ones that got out. That adds a layer.
I do have an answer. And I think they're too big now for it to happen because they can play whoever they want now. The Gonzaga series was very important for Memphis back in the day because they used to play it during the middle of the season, and this was, CUSA days. And so Memphis didn't have an opportunity for months to have a signature win, but you get Gonzaga right there in the middle of the schedule, and it benefited them too because they were in the same spot. Their league's better now, but it didn't used to be.
But when we're all in the Pac-12 together,
Maybe when we're all in the Pac-12 together.
I've tried to take a step back from all of that just because there's only so much like off-season conference realignment transactional porn that you can pay attention to on a regular basis. I did see someone pose the idea that Memphis could join the Pac-12 in football only, and then once again basketball would be. My whole thing of being tantalized by the Pac-12 situation, a part of it was playing teams like Gonzaga and San Diego State on the basketball side of things, and Boise State after some of the success that they've had over the last couple of years. So
I was so wrong.
I would be
by the
really
way.
what?
I was so wrong, by the way.
What?
It's a clear answer to who we should play.
Arkansas?
And of course. Yeah. Not even because of Calipari,
because
just
of
because of the rivalry.
Yeah.
Like that used to be a really big rivalry for the Tigers too. So yeah, if I could have one game back on the schedule, it'd be Arkansas for sure.
All right, we'll take a quick break. It is Friday. That means we have Music Friday coming up. What we are listening to going into the weekend, some music stories from the week. Usher had to apologize to Sabrina Carpenter's father. I'll tell you why. We'll get into the rest of our Friday, into the weekend. We'll also give you our picks for this upcoming slate of NBA playoff games that we'll have this weekend. That's when we come back.
Good defense. Durant attacking, spinning, hanging, and hitting. That's no show.
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
The other thing that came out this week that we were talking about innovation and Nike and all that, they dropped these $900 hyper boots that
900.
I mean, they're a recovery shoe apparently that you wear after sports, whatever.
Who's buying it? Because all the athletes that we see, they're going to get seeded this. So who's going to actually pay $900 for this?
The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
I thought Penny was smart to handle this the way he handled it. He expressed frustration with the system, the chaotic nature of it. The price hike on eggs ain't got nothing on the price hike on basketball players. The same dude who cost you $150,000 last summer is costing you $500,000 right now. I understand his sentiment, but he stopped well short of criticizing PJ Haggerty.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
Who's going to be the tougher team that rebounds and prevents second chance opportunities?
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
We talked a little bit about Jalen Wells. Jalen Wells, man, he finished third in the balloting for NBA Rookie of the Year. He's going to be back. He's going to play in Summer League, and maybe he'll shoot some left-handed jumpers out there. Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Welcome back on this Friday. Before we get into Music Friday, this is my reminder to you that Sunday is Mother's Day. And if your mom lives out of town, you're too late. But if your mom lives in town, at least get her a card, maybe some flowers, do something nice for your, if you love your mom, I should say. Like, I'm not gonna force somebody who doesn't want to give their mom presents for Mother's Day, but come on, do it for the moms.
I think this is the earliest this year that I've gotten all my Mother's Day shopping done. I feel good about it. Yep, went to some great local establishments, bought some stuff, shop local for Mother's Day.
Do you have a recommendation?
Yeah, go check out, Hard Times Deli.
Yeah.
Right next door. Shout out to my friends over there. They have a little. There's a little store right next door called Slow Down Dry Goods.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go there
clothing
next time.
store. They sell pottery and stuff too. Yeah, that's a good spot. Yep.
I messed up.
It's a good
I
gift
messed
spot.
up. If my mom is listening, please stop. Like mute, stop listening, come back to this later. She listens every day. Sometimes she just plays the show in the background so it feels like I'm there with her. It's the sweetest, saddest thing that I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to make sure that I got my mom something nice this Mother's Day because she's constantly sending Chris and I just little gifts regularly, like grocery store gift cards, Starbucks gift cards, cash, like just the nicest random bits. And I'm 33 years old, and I feel like I've really rested on the like nice card for Mother's Day. And like we try to see her when we can, and we'll take her out to dinner. But I wanted to get her a really nice gift. So when she was in town a couple weeks ago, I had a hair appointment one day, and she was trying to find something to do while I was at my hair appointment. So I dropped her off at Laurelwood because I know there's a lot of shops in that area that she could just like bop around to. And if all else failed, she could just sit at Novel and read a book or wander through there or get a glass of wine.
I was at Novel this week. I love Novel. My
I was
God.
at Novel last week. Love Novel. Anyway, she's wandering around Laurelwood, and she stumbles into this store called Babcock Gifts.
Yeah,
Have you been there?
Yes.
Okay, it's a home goods store. And she tells me, when I come and pick her up, she's like, this store was incredible. I saw so many things that I wanted, I would have loved to get, but I couldn't figure out a way to get them home. And so in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna get my mom something from Babcock Gifts for Mother's Day. And so I go this week, and I'm running out of time because I need to get something in FedEx to send it to Washington.
Yep.
And I go into Babcock Gifts, and I swear to God, every single thing I looked at was like $300. I was like, I can't afford anything in Babcock Gifts. You wanna know what I got her?
What?
I got her napkins.
I bet those are nice
like,
napkins.
No, like those like cutesy little like have a funny phrase. Yeah, I got her napkins.
Oh, that's
so I sent her napkins and a card. I went in with intention. I was like, I'm gonna get her a bowl. I'm gonna get her a vase. I'm gonna get her a picture frame. I got my mom napkins for Mother's Day.
Yeah.
But I think she'll find it funny
okay.
because I sent them in the Babcock Gifts bag, which she's now familiar with.
Creative. I
and
like
if
it.
you listen to this, Sharon, before you opened, I'll never forgive you.
Yeah.
But I did at least get something in the mail, which felt appropriate. All right, let's do a little Music Friday before we get into our weekend. Bennett Have you seen the latest between Usher and Sabrina Carpenter and Sabrina Carpenter's father?
I have.
Oh, wow, you're on top of it.
I have, yes.
I am so proud of you.
Yeah, is this related to the outfit that she wore to the Met Gala?
It is. So
Yes,
this was
okay.
at the Met Gala, or is that one of the post parties for the Met Gala? And Usher was performing at this party. And Usher has this bit that he does at his show where he feeds somebody a cherry. I have seen some very uncomfortable videos, just myself uncomfortable, like good for them. You do you. If Usher fed me a cherry, I don't know what I would do. It'd be an interesting situation, an interesting social study. Like how do you respond to this moment, to this man doing this to you? And so he did it to Sabrina Carpenter and the picture goes viral. And apparently Sabrina Carpenter's dad sent her a picture, which is such a dad move. Like, here's a picture that I saw of you. And he just put question mark, weird. I think that's an appropriate thing for, well, maybe you should just ignore it and then you never have to talk about it and pretend like you didn't see it. Like, I don't need to know that my dad saw the picture of me with Usher feeding me a cherry.
I mean, has he seen one of her concerts? Has he ever been to one of his daughter's concerts?
Are you familiar with your daughter's? See, that's where
I've seen the videos.
I could not be a pop star for a multitude of reasons, but primarily like that and being an actress. Like if you had to do
a sex
like
scene,
a nudie scene,
right.
and just the thought that there is a chance that either of my parents or my grandparents or my aunts and uncles or like my elementary school teacher. I think we don't give them enough credit for the mental barrier that they're able to put up.
That's true.
And not
I agree.
think about those specific people seeing them in that realm. Because yeah, you're right. Like the positions I've seen Sabrina Carpenter on stage.
She's invented new
it's a
ones
whole
for the
thing.
concert.
Like it's part of her
Yeah.
shtick. Good point. Good point. Well, anyway, Usher ended up commenting on the picture and was like, "Sorry, Mr. Carpenter," and I think it makes it worse. I think him apologizing
like a
to the dad.
wink,
Yeah, it's like, so sorry, Mr.
So
Carpenter.
sorry.
All right, that was one of the biggest new music stories of the week. It's been a slow week. If you could guess any artist,
Okay.
we'll see if you know this one, who would go to the conclave as a pedestrian, just any singer who would show up at the conclave just to chill, incognito, not there to be noticed, just, hey, I'm in Vatican City, I'm going to pop by the conclave. Who would you guess?
Probably, I'll say Harry Styles.
You saw it.
I know.
You cheater. You're too attached. You're
I know.
online.
I'm chronically
You're
online as
online.
well. Yes, I saw the picture.
This makes me feel so much better. See, this is why Bennett and I can always talk because
Yeah,
we're
I
both
know.
chronically online and we see all of the same things. Harry Styles was just spotted in the middle of the conclave and his hat says, "Techno is my boyfriend."
That's a cool hat.
I like it.
I
I'm
like
into
that
it.
too. That's a good hat.
Do you think Harry Styles feels a little upset that Benson Boone is stealing his bit?
You know, that's a good question. I feel like is he stealing his? I guess it's similar.
When I see
it's
Benson
similar.
Boone,
It's similar.
I think sexually androgynous
Yeah.
heartthrob.
The tight suit, the
Uh-huh.
tight with the sequins and
The
stuff
like
on it. Yeah,
croony nature of some of his songs have a similar.
yeah.
I'm just
Harry couldn't do a front flip off the stage though.
no, and Benson Boone will remind you 4 times a show that he can do a flip backwards, forwards, and off the side.
Yeah,
And it is pretty cool.
it looks cool. I've seen the
Has
videos.
Harry Styles flamed out?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that I actually think he's a pretty good actor. So
So do
I
I.
wonder if that's like going to
Yeah.
be, if he's going to kind of lean into that more than music going forward.
Yeah.
Because he's, the last couple things that I've seen him in, I thought he was really good. And he's picked some interesting roles. So yeah, I don't think he's flamed
Okay.
out. I think what's, because he is kind of laying low right now because the tour was what, 2 years ago or
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had the whole situation with what's the director who he had the affair with?
Not Olivia Wilde.
No, yes, Olivia Wilde.
Olivia Wilde. Yes.
or
Yeah.
reportedly had the affair with.
No, did. Yeah.
Absolutely did.
Yeah. That movie was interesting too. Don't Worry, Darling, I believe it was
Wait,
called.
speaking of interesting movies, because I have you here, did you watch the trailer for The Materialists? The one with Pedro Pascal and Dakota Johnson?
No,
the
I've
rom-com?
got it bookmarked.
It looks so good.
Does it?
They even do, because as somebody who loves rom-coms, I have grappled with the internal debate on, can I still love rom-coms in 2025? Like there's an innate cringiness to it. They're kind of oh, this would never happen in a million years. There's a corniness, I should say. And we haven't really had a great rom-com in a minute.
What's the last good one?
I don't know.
The last one everyone went to go see was that Sydney Sweeney Glenn Powell. I didn't see it, but
I didn't
that's
either.
the last one everybody went to see.
It didn't make me want to see it enough. And obviously, I don't even know if it worked. I don't even know if that rom-com worked for both of them. Like, what's the last thing Glenn Powell was in now?
Twister.
I thought after that movie, Glenn Powell was going to skyrocket into everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he's kind of cooled off. Obviously, our girl Sydney Sweeney is doing just fine.
She's doing okay.
She's
doing okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, she's at the Met Gala. Like, where was Glenn Powell at the Met Gala?
That's a good question.
Outside of that, what was the last good rom-com?
I don't know.
Crazy Rich Asians was pretty good.
That was great, actually. That was a really good movie. Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
That's probably it.
I mean, like, even this list, when you just Google last great rom-com, it comes up with Crazy Rich Asians, and then it's Crazy Stupid Love, which I just revisited, and it holds up tremendously. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. The Big Sick.
Oh, we're going really far back. Okay.
50 First Dates.
I like
Forgetting
The Big
Sarah
Sick.
Marshall. I mean, those are all old. Knocked Up. That's old.
Yeah.
My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Old. Palm Springs was semi.
It was pretty good.
But like, not everyone saw. Palm Springs was so artsy.
Yeah, and it was on
And it was at a
Hulu.
weird
Yeah.
time. So anyway, this movie with Pedro Pascal and Dakota Johnson, even in the trailer, they used the old like 90s voiceover. Like, so-and-so is this.
Oh, yeah.
And then her day.
My guy with the
turns to-
raspy voice, yeah.
So it brings me back to happy times. Anyway, I'm very excited for that. Randall in the chat said, my old ass. That's not, I don't count that as a rom-com. A rom-com has to have a certain level of like silliness to it. There's this French movie that they call a rom-com called like Worst Person in the World, which is a great movie. You would love it.
I want to see it.
someday.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
But I would never call it a rom-com.
Okay.
I don't know. You have to feel the rom-com. I love my old
I
ass.
agree.
It was
There's
one of my
got to be a
favorite
level
movies
of
the last year.
silliness, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like whimsy.
Yes.
I don't know.
I know what you mean.
You feel it when you see it.
I know
you
what you
might
mean.
not know it. All right. Are you listening to any music before we get out of here?
Am I listening to any new music? Yeah, a little bit. The new. So speaking of movies, there is a new music documentary coming out in IMAX. Pink Floyd live at Pompeii, and they just released the accompanying album. I know that's like I know that's a yeah.
That's why we have you here.
I know. That's as it's coming out of my mouth. You know, I'm just like, all right, dude. It's so
Will you be
on
seeing
brand. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I will go see it.
At Pompeii. That's a pretty dope place to have a concert.
Yeah, it was a famous concert that they did. They're re-releasing it on
Okay.
IMAX. Yeah, so that gonna see that.
Okay.
The new Miley Cyrus is pretty good. My kids like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even she said, she's like, it's not my best, but I did it for the gays.
Yeah,
And I was like, I appreciate
my
that.
kids
Lean in.
like it because it's the dance
And the
like
kids,
good in the
yeah.
car. Yeah. This band I like, Turnstile. They just dropped some new songs. Been listening to that. Yeah, that's about it. That's about it.
I listened to the new Pink Pantheress album. Are you familiar with Pink
Yes,
Pantheress?
very familiar.
She went viral on Tickety Talkety a couple years ago, and now she's kind of been all over the place. I really like her album. Like, I just listened to it while I was getting ready this morning.
Yep.
And it very much reminds me of like a video game soundtrack from my childhood, like early 2000s video game soundtrack. It's techno-y. There's like a Basement Jaxx. Do you remember Basement Jaxx?
Yes.
It feels like that. Like that with Madonna had a baby, and that's the Pink Pantheress album. So I recommend it. It's pretty short too, so it's a quick listen, but I would absolutely listen to that this weekend.
We're also listening to the new Wiggles country album in the car quite a bit. Yeah.
Excuse
Yeah,
me?
Miss Dolly's on one of the songs.
Who's Miss Dolly?
Dolly Parton.
Oh,
I
I'm
call her
sorry.
Miss Dolly. Yeah, I call her Miss Dolly. She's on one of the songs. The Wiggles actually going to be at the Orpheum next month, so we'll be in attendance.
Are these the original Wiggles?
I think the Wiggles change. I think it's an ever evolving group.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that it's not the original Wiggles. Maybe there's like one original member, but it's not. And I'm telling you, Wiggle Up, Giddy Up is one of the best songs. It's one of the best kids songs of all time, probably. We've listened to it no less than 1,000 times in my car. So yeah, that's new Wiggles for all you parents out there.
I really did not know the Wiggles were still in action.
Oh yeah. They'll be down
they
the street
still
at
do
the
their
Orpheum in a
classics?
couple weeks. I think they still do their classics.
Fruit salad.
They still do
Yummy,
fruit salad.
yummy.
Yes.
Hot potato, hot potato. Wow.
Yeah. So.
And that's on being a parent.
Range.
That is range. That is range. All right, Bennett. Thanks for joining us on this Monday.
Yeah, sorry I was
I'm gonna
late.
see you again. That's okay, because we're gonna hang out again in like 45 minutes.
I'll
So
see you in a
Garrett
few.
Bear show up next. I'll be there. Bennett will be there. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Quick hitter NBA picks on our way out. Coming up first tonight. Who are you taking? Celtics, Knicks.
I'm gonna go Celtics here.
That's also tomorrow. I'm an idiot.
Oh, okay.
You're gonna take Celtics tomorrow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
take the Knicks.
Do we have a game tonight?
Yeah, we have two.
What's tonight?
We should have had two last night, but we have two tonight.
Right.
Cavs, Pacers. Did the Cavs get one?
Not if they don't get any of those guys back. Do we know
I think
if
they're
anyone?
getting Mobley back, but a limited Mobley.
That just feels.
Darius Garland. I don't think we're going to see Darius Garland the rest of the season.
Like,
But I
I
think they can win without Darius Garland. Evan Mobley feels like the real hinder to me.
Like, I feel like the Celtics can for sure get back into that Knicks series. Evidence being they're up 20 points in 2 games. This Cavs one feels kind of defeatist to me. Just you lost half your roster. Like you're down 0-2. You got to go play in Indiana. That one feels tougher to me.
Okay. Nuggets, Thunder.
Nuggets.
I agree. I will also take the Nuggets in the
that-
first game back in Denver. The altitude, a bounce back after being embarrassed, a big Jokic performance.
Yeah.
And then Warriors, Timberwolves. The game 3 is tomorrow.
I gotta go. I think I just gotta go Timberwolves.
I'm taking the Warriors.
Are you?
Until I see them completely fall apart, I can't bet against it. I've done it too many times. I have thought that I've been watching the end of the Warriors so many times. And without Steph, it becomes the hardest of mountains to climb. And yet they just find ways to win. Not last night.
I mean, being back home, like if they can get the Buddy Hield they got in game 1 and Jimmy Butler has
Like a big Pods game.
Yeah, if those role players have big games and Kerr found the right rotation, then I could actually see that too.
Well, we'll see how it all plays out. We'll be back on Monday to discuss it all. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. We'll see you then. Bye.